time right now is awesome.
I know.
And that's why we're here, because it's awesome morning time. And it is time once again for the Wholesale Real Estate Investing Show. This is number 223 here with the SAHA boys, John and Paul. On this, what is this? This is a negotiation new op day, February 15th. Happens to be a President's Day. Yesterday was Valentine's Day. Hearts and heads. What a weekend. And speaking of hearts and heads, John's got a quick little thing about the heads of the state, so to speak. I think he'd love to share with all of you.
You know, welcome to the Hangout, everybody. Before I get into that, I just want to kind of thank everybody for joining us, investing your time here with the Sell a House Arizona Property Noodler team, getting yourself educated, geared up for the week. New Op Day is an especially important day of the week because it's our, how to win friends and influence people negotiation Mondays, where we talk about the skill set it takes to be a good negotiator, be good with people. Important key piece of wholesale real estate, by the way, is that you are after motivated sellers and you need to know how to deal and treat people properly if you want to be successful in this business. So welcome. Thanks again to Paul for hosting us every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and investing his time in you guys and in this system to go ahead and spread this great information. And Paul and I were having a quick discussion. At the risk of sounding like a nut job, I think Justice Scalia was assassinated. There, I said it. It's probably, but I'm not the only one. I started thinking things were funny when I read this when I started seeing some stuff on Facebook about his death. And what caught me about it, the reason I bring this up is because I think it's very indicative of the changes that are going on and the blatant arrogance of the financial sector. And I believe they're going to crash this economy. And you say, all right, what does this have to do with the assassination of this Supreme Court justice or the death of, because you're not believing that it's an assassination because, the mainstream media within 2 hours of discovering his body came out and said, don't worry, it's natural causes. A judge signed off. There's no need for an autopsy. And the first eyewitness that found him, so what if he was still fully clothed, laying down on the bed with a pillow over his face? This is okay. Look the other way. He wasn't assassinated because he was against gun control. He wasn't assassinated because he's against the Obamacare bill. He died of natural causes. We know this. No need for an autopsy. Just very strange stuff, which kind of got my mind just thinking over the weekend, as my mind always does, about peeling back the curtain and looking at the reality, because what's being presented to you, to I out there, when it comes to the dinosaur, crippled, dying, ridiculous, fake media, Fox News, CNN, all of it, it's bullshit. It's a dying dinosaur. People, they don't have the viewership that they claim to have. That's proven. More people are getting their news from alternative sources and doing their own investigative work. The reason I bring this up is because right now, I think we have to kind of listen to what's going on in the mainstream media and dissect it, peel back the curtain, look what's behind there, and find the truth for ourselves and create a plan and realize that they're feeding us a load of crap. Right now, you're starting to hear all the little seeds are being planted about the stock market crash. Now, do you think they're trying to warn you? Or are they trying to panic you? So you dump your stock so they can short you, they can short your stocks, and as you're losing all your wealth and dumping these things for pennies on the dollar, these giant hedge funds and multinational corporations and investment bankers are making billions of trillions of dollars off of derivatives and shorting and optioning properties to fools who listen to the mainstream media and get caught up in the tidal wave of panic that they're now planting the seeds for. So I know that's a lot to take in. It might sound like crazy stuff, but you know what? Go out, Google it, investigate it for yourself. Keep an open mind to the fact that what you're hearing in the mainstream news is most likely a load of shit, for a lack of better term. So that was kind of where my mind was at. What does that have to do with how to win friends and influence people? Really nothing, but it's food for thought for this new op day. And for me, it motivates me to go out there, take action, and learn as much as I can about the financial system, about the banking system, about what's really going on, so that I can position myself and share this information with others in hopes of positioning my family and my friends to not get sucked into another 2008. Because most people we're all 10 years older now, 7, 8, 9 years older than we were back then. Can we really start over once again when we lose everything again? Most of us, it's too late.
7, 8, 9 years older, and for most people out there, none the wiser. And because they're still listening to, like you said, the mainstream media, the brainwashing propaganda machine that has taken us from being people of sound mind and body into being people of following the freaking herd because it's what everybody says. And yeah, do you think that there is I wouldn't even call it a conspiracy, I'd call it a freaking master plan to freaking make some more money to, you know, run the sheep through the shearer one more time and get another load of wool off of your backs by crashing the stock market? Yes, absolutely, 100%. It's a master plan. This was figured out 8 years ago when they squished the banks so that they could get rid of, so that the big banks could get rid of all the little guys and have no competition. There was too many small banks back then. What do you think happened to all those small banks that failed back then? All the big banks bought them up. They were stuffed with bad assets that were taking them down. These little banks couldn't do nothing. The big banks stepped in with all their bailout money, and they bought up all these little banks and all their bad assets. And now there's only, now they're the kingpins. They're the only ones left, standing there monopolizing the whole freaking banking system with the government right there in their pocket going, hey, guys, let's move forward, make some money, yay. And what can we do next? Well, shoot. We can't do this again because, we got to give people time to forget about that. We're going to have to do something else. I know, stock market. We can always crash the stock market. People expect the stock market to crash, at least a little bit. We can do that. That's no problem. And they won't even know. They won't even care. They won't even complain about it because it's natural. It just happens. Just like gas prices.
You know what? And now if you're in stocks right now, you really need to get yourself educated quickly. And I would suggest doing what the Royal Bank of Scotland's telling their investors to do. What a lot of the big hedge funds and investment banking firms are telling you to do. Get the fuck out of your portfolio today. The market will probably go like this. A little bit down, a little bit up, a little bit sideways, a little bit up. And I bet you this year it will break an all-time record high. It will. But you know what? Get out while you're near the top, because you know what most people do? They wait till it's already crashed and it's at the very bottom to start getting out. In fact, that's what they kind of want.
Or at least wait till it's obviously crashing, and then it's too late, because once it's already in motion, and once it's already happened, and once it's already going down, just like the housing market, how many people, after 2008, after Lehman Brothers went down in November or September of 2000, and was that 8 or 7, whatever it was, all of a sudden went, holy shit, we got to try to sell this house and get the hell out of here, and there wasn't nobody buying. Okay, so you wait till it's already happened, till it's obvious, till everybody knows what's going on here, and there's nobody there to catch you. It's over.
Right. Now I don't think this time around, I'm not convinced that real estate will take as big a hit, because the bubble hasn't inflated in real estate as it was, 06, 07 will take as big a hit as the stock market. Though I do think that you're going to be, if you're positioned properly, especially if you understand what we do with property noodlers, or you understand the motivated seller scenario and really how to wholesale a property, you're going to be positioned well, because when people are losing their ass over there and they're left with just a couple of assets and they're needing cash, they're going to be dumping their homes as a as a life preserver. You know, their physical assets is their last life preserver.
I disagree with you. I think that this housing market is going to take a pretty sizable, not as big as 2008, but damn sizable hit, because, you want to know why? Because this market is no longer about home buyers. It's no longer about it's no longer about people wanting to buy the American dream. It's all about investors wanting to buy rental properties, and everybody knows that's where the properties are. And the market right now has outpriced the rental range for, you know, the price, the houses that fall into the category of where you can get good rental returns from is too thin. There's not enough market there. There's not enough supply there. So we got to crash the housing market too. It's got to diminish at least 20%, if not 30%, so that we can bring a whole new supply back into the proper pricing that's going to feed the rental market buyers.
I don't disagree with that. I guess where my thinking lies is I don't think we'll have the pre-foreclosure crisis that we had. I don't think you're going to have as many people losing their homes to foreclosure as you did in 08, 09. But hey, you know what? I don't have a crystal ball. Paul doesn't have a crystal ball. But we make educated guesses here based on, you know, uncovering the facts, not buying into the hype of the mainstream media. And regardless whether I think it'll take a hit, how big that hit is you know, what we're debating here. But I'm not worried about the next financial crisis, to tell you the God's honest truth. I will make more money.
I think it is going to cause a lot of foreclosures for two reasons. Number one is the stock market crashes. How many jobs are going to be lost? It's not going to be a fact of bad loans and overinflated loans and predatory loans and all that stuff, because they haven't been giving those things out. They've been squeaking a little bit of that stuff back into the market, but that's not the thing. They've been giving out normal loans. So now, you know, jobs are going to be lost. People aren't going to have money. They're not going to be able to afford to pay. I was talking with a guy the other day who has a job. He works for the banks in the pre-foreclosure area. His company does it's not his company, but the company that he works for is hired by the banks to go out there, and I know that they do this because when I was back in foreclosure, I would see this guy every so often show up in front of the house, click a couple pictures, take some notes, drive up, and once in a while he would get out and come to the door and hand us some paperwork, but mostly he'd just come by, take a couple pictures, take a few notes, and drive off. And all they're doing is checking on the property. It's in pre-foreclosure. These people haven't even got their notice of default yet. And these guys and the banks are sending people by to see if somebody's living in that house, or if it's gone vacant. They're looking to protect their asset, because if it's gone vacant, they want to get somebody out there even before they've sent out a notice of default. Now they want to get somebody out there to secure up this house so that it doesn't get damaged as much, so that because the bank knows the foreclosures are coming again, so they want to make sure that they have good assets that they can sell off to the investors, not trashed out junkers like before. So, and this company, guy says that this company is telling these people they're getting geared up for another round of foreclosures.
Well, that's very interesting. My mind, the whole time you were saying that, is subject to, subject to, subject to, subject to. That's like, that is the buzzword, I think, for the next wave. Is because if we do take the hit and we don't have the equity, taking these properties subject to those loans to get these people out of a bad situation, toss them $2-3 grand so they can find another place to move into. I think that's going to be the play in this market coming up.
That's actually a good idea, because, you know, you got to consider a lot of these properties are stuff that was bought post crash, and the interest rates are dirt cheap. So yeah, you take over those loans. Who cares how much is owed on the property? You take over those loans, you put a renter in there, you got cash flow happening, baby.
I guess where my mind is going, it's like I'd like there's a more positive outlook than what I truly believe in my gut is going to be happening here. So I think I'm trying to place more of a rosy picture, but I believe, you know, we shall see. We shall see exactly what happens. But, you know, I was watching this other thing over the weekend, viral video on YouTube and Facebook now at this point, and it was in a factory in Illinois that employs 1,400 people. And they had a union meeting with the union rep, and somebody filmed this from their cell phone, and they announced that they're going to be shutting down this plant in 3 phases over the next 3 years, and eventually 100% of this company's operations, and it's not just this one plant where this guy was giving the speech that employs 1,400. But basically, I can't remember the company. You could probably Google the video. Live, you know, Google. I can't think of how I came across it on Facebook. Regardless, they're going to be shutting down operations in 3 phases and moving to Mexico. Why do you think that is? Is because America is not going to be great again in the respects of manufacturing jobs and, you know, all these, those type of manufacturing and productivity product jobs. The bottom line is America has already signed into trade agreements like the TPP, the North American Trade Agreement, the World Trade Organization, funded by the World Bank. This stuff's already been in motion since the 70s, and all that's happening now and what's been happening since the mid-80s is an acceleration of the outsourcing of manufacturing jobs out of the country. First of all, tax breaks, tax benefits to moving your operations to a country like Mexico, and the wages you're going to pay there as opposed to the taxes in the United States, the wages and the demands of the union. And you know what? I'm not against union. I'm against union jobs. My father's a union guy. I happen to enjoy the fact that I live in an Arizona right-to-work state that's non-unionized on the state level, other than like a corrupt New York or Chicago, where the unions are actually like mobs. Sorry for you union supporters out there, but, you know, do your homework on what's going on there. They're part of the problem that's driving business out of the country. Yes, you need to be paid a livable wage, but do you really need to be paying all those dues and then carrying the dues of the union onto your employer, raising taxes to fund all these welfare programs, pushing business out of the country? It's part of the problem, but I think it's more than that. I think it's by design, because America is being reduced to a goods and service-based economy. You know what? Our number one commodity here is overpriced education. Really, people are going to school to get jobs, except when they're coming out of school, the jobs they're wanting aren't there. America's not that country anymore. It's time to peel back the curtain, look at what's really going on. And you know what? If you're not an entrepreneur, if you're not doing network marketing, if you're not in sales, if you're not looking to the internet as a way to boost your income, if you're looking at, you know, waiting for that great job that's going to carry you cradle to grave, as they call it, you're not going to find that here. It just doesn't exist anymore. And the millennials, you got to look at demographics too, especially since we're in real estate. My God, the millennials, they have no desire for home ownership. So with that being said, who are we rehabbing and flipping our retail houses to in 10 years? Well, it ain't the 30, the 25 to 40-year-olds. They don't want to own homes.
No.
Think about what that means for this business.
Rental investors, because like I just said, there you go. And that's it. You got to consider, what are the wages people are earning? How much money do the people have? How much can they afford to pay in rent? And where does the price of these properties need to be? And like you said earlier, even though they've gone up from, you know, back then, and we're not overinflated like we were in 2006, we're still way overinflated versus in the rental range versus property value. You know, they've pretty much the rental properties have been priced out of the market, so to speak, and the inventory is too low. So what does all this have to do with wholesale real estate, right? And what does it all have to do with how to win friends and influence people, right? Well, you think there's going to be a lot more people out there that are in trouble in different ways? Yeah, there's going to be. So you want to develop some skills to be able to handle these people in a way that is going to get them to. People in foreclosure are so, there's so many feelings that's running through their head. They are scared, they are angry, they're pissed off. I guess pissed off is angry. They are, embarrassed, they're ashamed, they are, in denial that it can't happen to them. There's so many feelings and emotions running through these people that they just want to shut down. Trust me, I know. That was my very first reaction. Bury my head in the sand and somehow this is all going to go away. Well, it's not. So for you to understand how to communicate with people in a way that's going to get them to open up to you in such a manner that they're going to be willing to listen to you in order to understand where their situation is and what possibilities they have set before them, and figure out and be willing to sit down and figure out what is the best thing for them to do for their own future. Yeah, these skills, these fundamental skills of how to win friends and influence people are going to be quite handy for you. And that is why, that is how all of this stuff comes into play in my mind. Because right now, wholesale real estate game right now is, it's a tough game for a lot of guys out there because there's not a lot of inventory out there. There's people who are thinking this market is great. There's not a lot of desperate, motivated sellers that are in trouble that need to sell. Okay, there's a lot of people out there that want to sell, that are thinking they should sell, they're going to do all that sort of stuff, but they're not desperately motivated. They might have motivations like, I got 2 properties, I don't need one, or my job transferred me and I need to move somewhere else, I need to sell this house, or maybe somebody passed away and we don't want to pay that mortgage that's on there, or these are motivations, but they're not powerful motivation. Okay. And these are, and the people are a little bit more savvy and aware of what's going on in the real estate market after what's happened before. And they're not necessarily willing to give their properties away. So the wholesale real estate game is quite tough for a lot of people right now. But you know what? It's not for us because we found a niche where we're still finding all that motivation. But anyway, that's a whole nother story right there. But the whole thing is that, right now, people that are interested in getting into wholesale real estate, right now is a perfect time, because right now you have the time to take the hard knocks education of, the tough game. And if you can get in here and figure this out now and figure out how to do this the right way and study how to, work with the people and get them on your side to want to work with you and to want to have you be the person who's going to save them, then when all this stuff comes down and when all this stuff starts happening and the wholesale real estate boom starts coming back into action, you're going to be perfectly positioned to take your game as far as your personal life and your finances and everything that you've ever wanted in this world to the next level that you've been dreaming about in wholesale real estate. So that's why we talk about this stuff. That's why we talk about calling us up and contacting us on the propertynoodlers@gmail.com, because you want to know what's going on and you want to learn starting now so that you can position yourself to be ready when, hey, it comes back to those days where you can sling a dead cat and hit a vacant property on every corner, because it's going to be not as bad as it was, but it's going to be similar to what it was in the not too distant future.
Yes, absolutely. That is exactly why we talk about that stuff, is because we want not just for us, but for other people that are working with us to understand how learning this business now will perfectly position you to be, I guess, economy proof against what's on its way, and be able to benefit like the rich people do, the people in the know, benefit like them, because every time there's a big, market crash, all that's happening is it's a transfer of wealth, and the money that's leaving all these people's 401ks and stock accounts it's just going somewhere else. And it's typically going to it's not even the 1%. It's like the 0.0005%. I mean, this whole 1% being angry at the 1% is actually it's a farce. It's purposely designed as a farce to trick you into hating rich and successful people so that you continue to live your life in a quagmire rather than want to be like the 1%. Do you understand when you hear people talk ill of the 1%? Why do I bring this up? I don't know, because my mind just went there and I'm kind of just going with whatever comes to my mind today. The 1% of Arizona is a $360,000 or more a year. That's 1% in Arizona. 1% in New York is like $550,000 per year. Connecticut, the number one state as far as what their top 1% earners is, about $670 a year. That's not as much. That's not really a lot of money. It's really, really not a lot of money. Now, the other 90% making under 100 and I think under 250. And then when you look at the percentage that are making less than 30,000, yes, there's a giant gap between the 1% and the rest of the country. But when we get into the 1%, when we get into that idea of who these rich people are, we're really that are controlling and manipulating and utilizing crashes to make money. We're talking about the 0.00005%. There's about 6,000 multi-billionaires in the world. That's money. What they do with their money actually moves markets. So those are the ones that we should be looking at, because most of that people that fall into that category of the 1% are going to lose their asses next time around, because they're not in the know. They're not the real elite class. It's a farce that they are. They're regular people.
They're you and I that have really good jobs, high level positions. They make a lot of money, but they're 90% of them are mostly, worker bee people, just like everybody else. They're out there. They, like I said, they hold high level positions that pay very well annually, and that's what puts them in the 1%. And then there's another group that's up in there, which are the entrepreneurial types. So it's probably about, I would say maybe it's probably about 50-50, probably entrepreneurial types and just those that hold high level positions. And I think the entrepreneurial types maybe have a better chance of hanging on than the other ones do. But for the most part, those that are just holding high level positions and have a lot of money, what do you think they're doing with their money? They got somebody else handling it for them. It's in the stock market. Yeah, they're positioned to get their ass lit on fire just like everybody else.
And this, we're running out of time, and we didn't really get into how to win friends and influence people. So I apologize for that. Paul and I did a seminar on Saturday, and we did it at a public library, and we had a good turnout, and the meeting went very well. And we had someone that was sitting out in the library that kind of overheard what we were talking about and wanted to come in to the seminar and join in. And by the end of it, he's like, not only do I love you guys, but I freaking love you guys. He was a 16-and-a-half-year-old kid, kind of a goth kid in black clothes and dark makeup around his eyes. And the dinosaur, the old way of thinking, would look at this kid and be like, he's got no potential. Look at the way he's dressed. Look, he's an outsider. He's an individual. Look at the makeup on his eyes. And I actually applaud that about the kid, because he's smart. When he talked to you, smart. He's going to inherit some money. And when he's 18, as long as he fits certain guidelines. Why do I bring it up? Because if I can say one thing if I had the opportunity to give a speech to a class of graduating high school students, it would be this. Moving forward into the future, if you're not a doctor, a nurse, a lawyer, or an accountant, and you plan on just going in, or maybe, certain utilities and law enforcement, what job are you going to go get after high school? Are you going to expect to get a job for some big corporation and feel that corporation isn't going to leave your ass behind when they move operations to another country where they're going to pay someone a tenth of what they're paying you? Are you going to be satisfied working at a McDonald's or flipping burgers? Or are you going to be satisfied working at a Circle K? Like, for me, the next phase, I think, in the evolution of the United States of America. I want to believe that there's an awakening among people. And if I could say one thing to a group of high school students is, study entrepreneurship. Look to start your own business, a web-based business. Learn how the internet works and operates. Or if you're not a go-getter, or you don't have a network of people and you don't know how to start a business, there are plenty of other business opportunities available to you that you can leverage. There's already business systems that you can tap into. And the number one skill I think people need moving forward into the future is entrepreneurship. And what Paul's holding up right there, which was in my hand, and we didn't get to it today, is how to win friends and how to influence people. I mean, to me, those are the more important things. Wholesale real estate is just one of many vehicles that are available to people that actually can create wealth in your life, give you hope, give you the ability to be economy proof by being able to create your own economy. And the reason I've specifically pushed the whole idea of something that is internet based, there's 7 billion people in this world, and 2/3 of them have access to the internet. So do I want to start a local business? Well, yes, I do. But I want to start a multinational business, something that can reach 5 billion people on this planet. And you know what? You start studying these skills, start learning these skills at 16 years old, we could all retire. We could all reach our dreams and goals. There's plenty of money out there. There's $122 trillion in available cash and credit circulating throughout the world. I just want 0.0000001% of that, and I'd be a very happy man. So what can you do to capture that? So entrepreneurial, seeking the truth, business skills, people skills, understanding the power of the internet and internet skills, that's where your education should go. And you can get that education for a fraction of going to a university that's really what? Going to teach you how to be an employee and how to be a slave and a tool in another person's hands. So with that, Paul, why don't you go ahead, give your final thought, close us out, because we're probably, I went over 2 minutes. I apologize.
I'm just going to say that you probably didn't even realize this, but every job that you rattled off over there, be expected moving forward in this future, in this life, all you people in school and everything else, I don't care what it is that you do, you're going to be going into the service industry, okay? Period, end of story. In America, that's all that we have left is going to be in the service industry. You're going to be serving other people. And when you're serving other people, unless you are the one that actually owns the business and you have other people doing the actual serving, you're going to have a cap on your income. Period, end of story. And you know what? It might be a high income. I don't care. There's still a cap on it. You're only going to be able to go so high, so far. And that's going to maybe elevate you into the 1%. Big deal. All right. You're going to be probably one of those people who, lives to the maximum of their means. And even though you're in the 1% of earners, you're in the 0% of savers, and you can't afford to not show up at work every day serving other people, because if you do, there goes your dream that you're, whatever you call it, this life that you're living. So there it is, guys. With that, O universe, I ask not for more riches, but for more wisdom, with which to make better use of the riches given to us at birth, consisting of the power to control and direct my own mind to whatever end I might desire. And I just want to say that we have actually finished part 1 and part 2 of this book. So if you want to catch up and be on par with where we're going, next New Op Day, we're going to do a recap of both part 1 and part 2 and what these two very, very important sections are all about. And then the following New Op Day, we'll start into part 3. So get the book. You got time, go get the book. We're only talking about 100 pages. You got plenty of time to go get the book, read it, catch up to where we're at, and be ready to rock and roll with building the new you. All right, everybody, we are out of here. We'll see you back here on Wisdom Wednesday, and have a good day.